Hello again, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm all set to count down the 40 most played country records in the USA as compiled by Mediabase 24/7 for the week ending September 20th, 2025. Before I start counting down this week's biggest hits, let's take a look back at last week's top three. At number 3 was Bottle Rockets by Scotty McCreery and Hootie and the Blowfish. Number 2 last week was Happened to Me by Russell Dickerson. And the number 1 song was Good News, the second number 1 hit by Shaboozey. Now, will Shaboozey get some good news and spend some more time at number 1? Let's find out 39 hits from now. We'll get the countdown started for the second week in a row with newcomer Brandon Lake and Jelly Roll at number 40. It's called Hard Fought Hallelujah. In at number 39 again this week, here's new artist Ty Myers with Ends of the Earth. Well, here's a song that's been bouncing in and out of the countdown for a while. This week it's back in at number 38. It's Morgan Wallen and Post Malone with I Ain't Coming Back. And with that one re-entry, we say goodbye to one dropper, ironically falling off is Morgan Wallen's hit, Just in Case. On with the countdown for another week at number 37. Here's Tim McGraw and Parker McCollum with Paper Umbrellas. Moving up 2 spots to 36 is Chris Janson, called Me and a Beer. Up 1 to number 35, 10th week in the countdown. Here's Chris Young with Till the Last One Dies. Holding steady at number 34, it's Preston Cooper and Weak. The number 33 song is A Song to Sing, up 2 spots for Miranda Lambert and Chris Stapleton. At number 32, up 1, it's Ernest, called Would If I Could. In at number 31 again this week is Megan Patrick and Golden Child. In his 13th week in the countdown, he's up 2 to number 30, Max McNown with Better Me For You. Up 1 to number 29, Dylan Scott with What He'll Never Have. Up a notch to number 28, Justin Moore with Time's Tickin'. Up a notch to number 27, Megan Maroney with 6 Months Later. Well, she has back-to-back hits again this week as her duet with Kenny Chesney climbs 1 to number 26, called You Had to Be There. At number 25, up 1, it's Hardy, called Favorite Country Song. At number 24, up a notch, it's Blake Shelton with Stay Country or Die Trying. Up 1 to number 23, it's George Burge and It Won't Be Long. At number 22 again this week, here's Rascal Flatts and the Jonas Brothers with I Dare You. Leaping 2 spots to number 21, here's Riley Green and Ella Langley, Don't Mind If I Do. In their 23rd week in the countdown, they climb 1 to number 20, Parmalee with Cowgirl. Up 1 to number 19, it's Keith Urban with Straight Line. Slipping back 1 this week to number 18, it's Hudson Westbrook with House Again. At number 17, up 2 spots, Zach Top with Good Times and Tan Lines. Up 2 spots to number 16, Tucker Wetmore with 3, 2, 1. Falling back 7 spots from number 8 to number 15 is his number 1 hit from 2 weeks ago. It's Bailey Zimmerman joined by Luke Combs, called Backup Plan. The number 14 song this week, up 2 spots, is Parker McCollum with What Kind of Man. Up 2 to number 13, Eric Church with Hands of Time. Up 2 spots to number 12, Lainey Wilson with Somewhere Over Laredo. The song has been on the chart the longest, now at 41 weeks, climbing 2 spots to number 11. It's Jackson Dane with Heavens to Betsy. Well, here's a song that was in the top 10 a couple of weeks ago, slipped to 11 last week. This week it re-enters the top 10, back up to number 10. It's John Party and Friday Night Heartbreaker. Leaping 3 spots to number 9, scoring his second top 10 hit. It's Chase Matthew with Darlin'. At number 8, up 2 spots, it's Luke Combs with Back in the Saddle. Down a notch to number 7 with his former number 1 hit, Thomas Rhett, and After All the Bars Were Closed. At number 6, dropping back 1, it's Jordan Davis with Bar None. Up 2 spots this week to number 5, Morgan Wallen, and I Got Better. Here's last week's number 1 record, down to number 4 this week, Shaboozey and Good News. At number 3 for the second week in a row, it's Scotty McCreery and Hootie and the Blowfish and Bottle Rockets. The number 2 song this week, up 2 spots, is Jelly Roll and Heart of Stone. And the number 1 song in the USA this week, climbing a notch. After 24 weeks in the countdown, this becomes his 6th number 1 hit. It's Russell Dickerson with Happened to Me. And that is our countdown of the 40 most played country records in the USA for this week. Join me again next time. Once again, we'll count them down and we'll find out who's got the number 1 song in country music. Thanks for listening.